Hello, welcome back to the Board Games 4K YouTube channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video, we're going to be talking about a dexterity game called Meeple Circus, and in this game you'll be trying to fulfill public demand by balancing your circus meeples on top of each other within a certain amount of time that will give you victory points that will allow you to win the game. And in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules. We're going to be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Meeple Circus is still worth playing today and in the future. So remember, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, leave a comment in that section down below, and we'll see you after this. Board Games 4K. So, Meeple Circus. How'd you play this game? So the first thing you're going to do when you set this game up, you're going to reveal a certain amount of public demands, and these are things that the audience want to see, and they'll be on display for all players to see. So the second thing that you will do is you will move into the preparation phase. This is where you'll be able to select your components like your donkeys and your acrobats and all that sort of stuff to put into your supply, which you will then use in the performance phase, right? So in the preparation phase, you get the option of either taking a component tile, which will tell you what components you can grab from the supply, or you can take one act tile from the display, and this will give you points if you fulfill the objectives on the act tile. So you've got what the public want, and then you've got personal objectives, right? So then you will move into the presentation phase, and there's three different presentations. So there's the first, second, and third presentation. The first two presentations are simultaneously. Everyone will do it at the same time, and the third presentation you will do on your own with everybody watching, right? So what you do, what we like to do, we download, there's an app for this, you download that and it gives you like a timer with some thematic music. So you start the timer and you'll be trying to balance your meeples in a certain order in order to score the most amount of points based on your public objectives and your private objectives. And also there's certain sort of generic points dependent on which colour meeples are on the floor, off the floor at a certain level. Yeah, you get points for doing that. So once the timer has run out, then you will evaluate your scores. You will look at the public objectives and you will score then, and you'll look at the private objectives, you'll score then, and there's also a speed bonus. So if you're the first to finish, you grab the first speed bonus token and you'll get a certain number of points for that and all. So depending on what colour meeples you got, there's some generic scoring. You get 1 point for every blue meeple that is touching the ground. You get a point for every yellow meeple that doesn't touch the ground. Depending on how high your red meeples are, you'll get the height measurement and you'll match it across and you'll look across and then you'll see how many points you get for the red meeples, right? So once you've done the evaluation phase, then you will reveal some more public demands. You'll be able to get some more components into your supply. And as you progress through the game, there's different types of demand cards that are available. So like we said, you do 2 simultaneous presentations, then you do 1 presentation on your own where everyone's looking at you, and then you evaluate the third round scoring, and whoever's got the most applause or victory points will win the game of Meeple Circus. Right, so what do we like about Meeple Circus? So the first thing that we really like about Meeple Circus is the initial drafting of each round. So you're going to be sort of torn between what you want to get, whether or not it's the components or whether or not it's the demand tiles that you want. And that does add a much needed sense of balance to this game, which would, if you could just choose what you wanted, or if there was another way of doing it, if it was random, then it would be a bit more chaotic. So it does sort of anchor the game down into, essentially is sort of a binary choice of whether or not you want to just go for the components and grab them first, or whether or not you think your opponent is going to be eyeing up those demand tiles before you do. So whilst it's not like an agonising choice, it does add a little bit of meat to the game, you know. So the second thing that we really like about Meeple Circus is the third round, where you've got to do it on your own when everyone's watching you. That adds a sense of tension. It really does ramp up the tension in this game. And the fact that you've got to do the first 2 rounds simultaneously, where you know nobody's watching and you could just go about your business, plonking all your stuff on your board and all that. In the third round, you know that everybody's watching you, and if you screw up, everyone's going to be laughing at you, right? I remember when we played this, when it first come out, a mate of mine, he came around with his son, and his son was in the third round. Everyone was watching him, and his hands were shaking like this, and it was so funny. So the third thing that we really like about this game is the way that Matagot have spent a little bit of time developing a little app for this, which acts as a timer. So you've got the classic sort of circus theme tune that's on there. You've got a few other ones, and it really does add to the atmosphere of this game. You've got that sort of circus music playing in the background, acting as a timer, creating a bit of tension. And if that hadn't been there, if you're just using like a stopwatch on your phone, it wouldn't be the same. So if you do like Meeple Circus, you've got to download that app because it is absolutely fantastic. So what don't we like about Meeple Circus? So the first thing that we don't like about Meeple Circus is some of the public demands are insanely difficult. If you are unlucky enough not to grab the components or whatever you want to get from the draft, if what you're left with isn't actually possible from the components that you've got, you're stuffed. There's no way back from that. Maybe there could have been a mechanism in the game where you could sort of trade in somehow or swap things out or whatever, but there isn't. It's not there. So we've had games where we haven't been able to complete any objectives. You're just sort of scrambling around for those basic default points from the different coloured meeples, and that can be a bit disappointing. So the second thing that leads on from the first thing that we don't like about Meeple Circus is when you're getting into the final round, when you've got the blue demand tiles, you're going to be doing some really weird and sort of wacky things. Like some of the things is you've got to sort of clap, I think, but every time you put something down on a board, or you've got to stand up and shout "ta-da" or something, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you don't see that in a circus performance. I know it's only a game. What they try to do is they try to take a light-hearted and fun dexterity game and turn it into like some sort of ridiculous party game. And I suppose you could leave them out, but they do give you points in that. For us, it just seemed a little bit weird, or maybe like a bit of a stupid thing going on with this game. It took away some of the atmosphere, when you're doing something that isn't actually that thematic for the game, So the final thing that we don't like about Meeple Circus is the core set lacks a little bit of variety. I mean, because this game's so fun, you're going to be burning through it time after time when you first get it. You're going to be playing this multiple times in an evening, and you're going to see everything the game has to offer in one evening. And even though there's a little bit of variety, there's not enough variety. There are a couple of expansions for this, so that would add the much needed variety for this. So you've got the tiger, you've got the strong man, you've got the ringmaster and all that, but the expansions add so much more to this, and that means that you never really know what's going to come out, what you're going to need, what you're going to be able to do, and what sort of performance you're going to be able to put on. So really, the core set is a little bit lacking. So to summarise, is Meeple Circus worth your time and effort in 2020 and beyond? So we're going to say yes, this is a fun and accessible dexterity game that provides a tense but light-hearted half an hour or so of gaming in an evening. Okay, it does suffer from a little bit of lack of quality, I suppose. It's got the flimsy demand tiles. There's a lack of variety in the components. It could have come with a little bit more, maybe. And that's the sort of thing that keeps this from being a 5 out of 5. We're going to give this 4 out of 5 for the simple fact that the box, when we opened it up, it was mainly just a big plastic insert with some stuff chucked in there. So we do like this game. It is fun, but the lack of variety and some of the crappy components do stop this from being a 5 out of 5. So if you get hold of the components, that would elevate this game up. But it's just a shame that there wasn't more in the box for the money that we paid for it. So that's Meeple Circus. Remember, if you are new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. And if you made it this far, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.